1 million. This is how Warren Buffett tests the microphone. 1 million, 2 million, 3 million. Thank you, everybody. It's unusual to see more people later in the afternoon than in the morning. Really appreciate you who came here at the live event, and also for the ones who are online. We started planning this event like a month ago, more than a month ago. And it was a pretty different world. I'll tell you how, and you'll see how fast things change in the AI world. So first of all, we didn't know when AI Act is kicking in, actually. Now we know for sure it's going to be published in the journal on the 12th of July, and then it will really kick in on the 1st of August. So we know that. Another thing that we didn't know, Apple just released their new toys, or the new operating system. And they also told that, we're just going to get, with the next phone purchase, basically, we're going to get AI on our phones without any need to, download anything or install anything. Google did the same thing a bit earlier. If you check your phones and if you updated your app, now you'll have the option to whether Google things or just change the tab, click, and then Gemini things, right? Get the answers from the Gemini. Of course, earlier, a month ago, OpenAI released their new model. If you haven't seen it, it's incredible. Check it out. Not right now, after the event. And guess what? A couple days ago, NVIDIA became the most valuable company in the world. And we all know what they do. So it's not, innovation is not always about the big players. We all know them, we all hear them. They sometimes about the small players too. And we have a really historic chance here in Europe to help those creators of AI. So today's theme is basically sandboxes and Digital Europe program, and all the support systems that we can help the innovators use. So without further ado, to talk about the sandboxes, I want to introduce remotely Jordanka Ivanova from the European Commission.
Hello, everyone. Very happy to be here. And thank you very much for the opportunity also to share with you the approach taken in the Artificial Intelligence Act to promote AI regulatory sandboxes, which is a key feature to achieve our twin objectives, not only to regulate, but also to enable development, excellence, and innovation with AI here also in Europe for the benefit of our providers, businesses, and citizens. So as it was very well said, the AI Act is just about to enter into force on the 1st of August, and there are important provisions both in terms of obligations and new responsibilities for those developing and using AI systems, in particular those classified as high risk. But also there are a number of supporting measures we are already envisaging in the AI Act itself, and also in supporting financial instruments such as the Digital Europe program to actually help all providers also in Europe prepare for this new legislation. So I just want to give a very brief overview of some of those, and then I'll zoom in more particularly on the sandboxes, which is really important. But just to say that many of these obligations actually for high risk and others, we are currently developing guidelines and other supporting tools, including European harmonized standards that should should be also ready on time to really help developers put in place, operationalize all the different requirements we have in the AI Act. And then once they rely on these standards, they will have a presumption of conformity, and we also aim to provide additional guidance on certain specific elements. We have another initiative which is also called the AI Pact, and I encourage all of you, if you haven't heard about it, to look at our website and subscribe, because it is really a community where we try to engage in the Commission and now the newly established AI office with all companies that would be affected, both Europeans but also outside Europe, who want to place their products on the European market, to prepare on time in this transitional period for the new obligations. And there are specific seminars, but also more concrete commitments that they can also take to prepare for the implementation early on, and even upfront some of the measures to actually implement the obligations earlier if they wish. And we aim to create this community to share good practices and support them in this process. And what will be also very important are indeed the AI regulatory sandboxes that are envisaged in the AI Act. And this is quite a novelty, because in many of the existing legislations, these sandboxes are either not at all regulated, so there are very different ways of how they can be implemented in practice, but also they are just voluntary. So it's not necessary for member states actually to create and allow providers to engage also and experiment in this safe environment under their supervision. So it is quite important that the AI Act now has a whole chapter and an obligation for all member states to set up already before the regulation becomes fully applicable after 2 years, to have operational at least one AI regulatory sandbox, and they can also cooperate, work together, establish such sandboxes jointly with other member states, or also build already on some pilots that some countries are launching to actually engage in this also transitional early phase with companies to help them comply with the AI Act. And these AI regulatory sandboxes in the AI Act is seen as a key framework, allowed also with other experiences in other sandboxes, framework for cooperation between the competent authorities under the AI Act and providers developing AI systems that want to place them on the European market in this early pre-market phase, to help them develop, train, but also test, including in real-world conditions, these systems in a safe environment with additional support and supervision by the competent authorities, so they can achieve really the objectives of the AI Act, and be sure that once they want to fully place them on the market, they are well tested, comply with the AI Act, and they have all the legal certainty that maybe it's not always obvious, especially with new legislation that comes into force as the AI Act. So it will be really an important tool, and the objectives of the AI sandboxes are really to foster innovation, enable this collaboration between the providers and the competent authorities, but also support regulatory learning for the authorities themselves and for us as policymakers, because the objective through this collaboration and projects that will that can be supervised and developed in the AI sandboxes at national level, then they can really inform our future guidelines, our interpretation of the AI Act. We can use them also for concrete development of concrete supporting tools, benchmarks, and other measures to help and also disseminate this knowledge to everyone. So this is quite important, and we also take it into account also for future possible changes that we could do also under the AI Act itself, for example, to adapt some of the requirements even without necessarily going through a full legislative process, or to update the list of high-risk use cases, to clarify also interplay with sectoral legislation, as it would be possible also to supervise in the same AI sandboxes also other relevant union law like GDPR. They could be closely involved with the data protection authorities, and this is quite an important tool we want to provide to all companies developing AI to get this legal clarity, certainty, and opportunities to engage with the competent authorities. So some of the benefits, and it's really important to say that these sandboxes are really targeting mainly the small and medium-sized enterprises that should have in principle priority access, as long as they fulfill the eligibility and selection criteria. But of course, other companies are also in collaboration, in consortium between smaller and bigger, will be also allowed, including also public authorities who could be themselves developing these systems. And what they could get in the sandboxes is first bespoke regulatory guidance for their concrete projects. They could also get permissions for real-world testing, environment even before their system is fully compliant, certified, if it is high risk, support for the conformity assessment process. They will also have opportunity on the side of the competent authorities to really interpret some of the requirements in a more flexible and clear manner, how they would be implemented in the concrete project, because many of the obligations are still high level in the AI Act itself, and it depends a lot also on how they are applied to concrete projects. There will also be no sanctions if, based on the sandbox plan, the providers follow the guidance from the competent authorities. So there is also this trusted relationship between the providers and the competent authorities, and then also final results in report that they can also use and demonstrate for all the activities that have taken place in the sandbox. And they are also, our objective is really to link the sandboxes to the broader ecosystem in Europe. So it's not just regulatory advice and benefits, but also they have opportunities more to link them to access to data hubs, data spaces, physical testing and experimentation, and other facilities. So it covers a broader type of services that over time will aim to help these AI regulatory sandboxes also provide to the companies participating therein. And it is important also to say that now the obligations are there, and we're working a lot with member states, but there are still some steps that we also need to put in place. And the first one is to have a bit more detailed rules on how these sandboxes should be operated, like some eligibility, selection principles, application process. So we are sure that they are uniformly applied across all member states, and there are also opportunities for cross-border collaboration. So here the Commission, with also in close consultations with the member states, will be developing these common rules together. And we are also working on a practical level really to support member states in the setup of these sandboxes, because it also requires a lot of resources, additional expertise on their side. And for that purpose, we are also launching supporting and coordinated action under the Digital Europe program. For that reason, where the objective will be to have common tools, frameworks that will help to ensure also this coordination on a practical level and help all member states develop them on time before the regulation becomes applicable. So I wanted also to share that in the end, indeed, this EU coordination will be very important. And here also the role of the AI board, especially to use these results for regulatory learning purposes, will be quite important. So we will also have a platform at European level where we aim to make a lot of the information accessible to everyone, and also the results from these sandboxes available. So this is a bit on the sandboxes, and I just wanted to mention also two other supporting actions we take under the same, and we currently fund under the same Digital Europe program, which the first one is to develop practical tools and flow charts and help providers fulfill some of the implement actually the obligations for the high risk systems we have, and this is really aimed to build on what we'll have as harmonized standards, so be much more practical instead of companies relying or developing on their own these internal policies, these tools to really self-assess them for the conformity assessment or for whether their system is high risk or not, and steps they also need to take to fulfill the requirement. So this will be an important practical tool, tools that we want now to develop with a dedicated support action under the Digital Europe program. And we also have another also call for developing of union testing facilities that should help on the other side the national market surveillance authorities when they start to implement the regulation and support them in their activities, enforcement activities. So I want to finish maybe just by saying shortly and emphasizing the role that now the Commission and the AI Office will have for all these measures and implementation. As you've probably known and seen, now we have still keep the decentralized system of enforcement for high-risk systems, prohibitions, but we'll also have a new body established at EU level, which is actually part of the Commission in DG Connect, in my directorate, the AI Office, which will have key responsibilities for the effective and consistent implementation of the whole AI Act across all member states, so all these tools that I just mentioned, and also guidelines, support for regulatory sandbox and others will be coordinated by us. And we will also have additional responsibilities and also for support of innovation and all other actions we actually already have within the AI ecosystem of excellence, for which also a colleague of mine from another unit in the same AI office now, we are all in the European Commission will speak more, so I will not talk about this, but just really to emphasize that we'll have all these dimensions, both the regulatory implementation and compliance, but also the support of the innovation, and also now a lot of the activities will also need to take internationally to ensure that also our approaches converge with those of the international partners and promote also the AI Act as really a golden standard for the regulation of AI internationally and also with partners. So I'll maybe stop here, and I'm happy to reply if there are any specific questions.
Jordanga, thank you very much for sharing your insights. We do, in fact, have at least one question. Evaldas, please.
Initiative sounds very much promising. I have a question which is maybe the biggest question in AI development, and that is data. For the data, we have currently few issues in Europe. First of all, there is limited number of cloud or large-scale data centers or data infrastructures, not exporting the data to abroad infrastructures for experimenting or for storing as such a process. Another part is for any kind of a sandboxing activities. We need to have secure and managed large amounts of data if we are talking AI. And do you have any kind of a perspective how it will be enabled, ensured? Will you have it as a technical support, or is it expected that all the partners coming with the solutions, with innovations, they also need to take care on this very cost-heavy part from, let's say, from pricing perspective, and also from regulation perspective? This is also the question on GDPR application and all the other regulatory standards working together. And or maybe you have an idea that it will be some, let's say, intermediary zone with weakened or more free rule set, as for example we have currently with a MiCA regulation for financial sector, where the blockchain solutions, they are free to operate with specific, let's say, regulation rule set. So 2 or 3 questions, sorry for not only one.
Yes, thank you very much. Very pertinent. So there are a number of aspects, and I think the first one on how much leeway the AI sandboxes can provide for the reuse of data that maybe not be always fully compliant with the GDPR. The AI Act establishes a specific legal basis for the reuse of personal data that has been lawfully collected for other purposes, but then can be reused for the training and testing of AI systems. So this, for people who are aware of GDPR compliance, it has been a bit of a controversial topic, because often also companies, but other other providers have a lot of data, but this reuse of the data has not been always so straightforward from legal perspective. So now what the AI Act does is that we create a legal basis that for certain applications that are specifically listed in this article, that are more for this kind of public benefit use, they can be directly any data collected already or obtained by the provider that has been lawfully obtained, of course, can be reused for the training and the testing. And then there are the other 2 elements that are indeed very important. How do we just open up a bit the access more to data? And here, what I was also trying to say is that key objective for the AI Act will be to link these sandboxes already to what we do under our broader digital activities, in particular with the Data Act and the data spaces that we are now creating with data intermediaries and opportunities to further reuse the data under that framework. So we really try to ensure that there are a lot of perspectives and close opportunities directly for the people in the sandboxes to access these data spaces. And here relevant is also one of our latest initiatives to create AI factories near the supercomputers we have in Europe, and also link them to the data spaces. So it's like a one-stop shop. So in the future, indeed, the sandboxes should very closely work and be integrated next to these AI factories, where there will be also more access to compute and also to data. But there are also opportunities, for example, and I think it will a lot depend, and this is our hope now, that under the Digital Euro program, with this support and coordination action, we manage also to achieve some additional support, for example, for the supervisory competent authorities to maybe also themselves have a set of data sets that have been already seen or anonymized in a legally compliant manner that could be maybe reused just for testing purposes. But this is something we'll just have to look more and take into account also what the current activities we can do under the proposals that we'll be winning, and how to move forward with the practical implementation that it's and the additional tools that can be provided in the sandboxes.
Jordanka, thank you very much. We have another question online from Mantas R. Rukuija. Interesting question. So ChatGPT is used by Russian propaganda-controlled bots to interact on Twitter and other social networks by pretending to be as real humans. Are there any plans to counter such activities? Please comment.
Yeah, I didn't present to you all the AI Act obligations and provisions, but indeed we have one of our obligations is precisely to oblige that people should be always informed when they are interacting with AI systems, notably to avoid this risk of deception and manipulation. So there is a clear obligation for this in the AI Act, and there is even an obligation for people also to be informed and see clear labels for deep fakes, because of course it's not only chatbots, but we could also have content created by AI. And we do think that indeed once the AI Act obligations enter into force, this will be an important tool also to fight this misinformation and deception techniques now we see becoming prominent.
Thank you. Thank you, Jordanka. Jordanka Ivanova from European Commission. Thanks a lot for your insights.
Thank you.
Applause up for you. You know, I got so excited about this event, I forgot to mention why I'm here, what I do here. So I work for the Innovation Agency. My name is Romanas Antovicius. Here's the rest of my team here. And one important thing is we also do plan a regulatory sandbox for Europe, for Lithuania primarily, and for Europe as well. So please ask us, find us on LinkedIn or find us here live, and feel free to ask any questions. We'll share them privately what we can. That's why the next part, which is a discussion panel discussion on AI sandboxes around Europe, which will be strengthening AI ecosystem. And I want to invite the moderator. His name is Orestis Tresenidis. He's director of EIT Hub of Silicon Valley.
It's great to meet you in person, finally.
Yes, finally, okay.
We had a discussion on AI sandboxes a couple of weeks ago. So please, yeah, I will introduce you, of course. Okay, I see that you already know, so I would like to welcome Linas. But okay, sorry, I will try to pronounce Petkevicius, good. Daniel Abu, thank you. Chloe Predel from the AI France. And Piotr Mitsiekovsky. Apologies if I misspelled the names. It's great to have you here. So, and I think the introduction was already made by the Commission officer. We don't need to say much. I mean, she explained a lot of things the information was really dense to a point that it was also hard for me to consume it. So maybe I will start with this. I would like from you to hear two things. One, what is an AI sandbox? Let's simplify it. Yeah, I would like to start with this. And we have some good practices. I was happy to hear. I mean, as I said 2 weeks ago, that Lithuania, for example, Linas, I will start with you, has already one sandbox. What is it? So what is it? How it works? And if we can start understanding the challenges and the opportunities for the AI ecosystem, that, please, Linas.
It's a really good question. So from our small ecosystem, what we would really would like to see is really some similar thing as we did in like 6 years ago with the fintech sandboxes. And when we had really good sandboxes, eventually we successfully managed to be basically second country in the fintech startups in whole Europe, because we had really easy way where various new companies could try various products in really regulated environment in the fintech. So it would be really nice to have something similar, that it would eventually benefit the whole community, not only like companies, but the whole ecosystem. So it would be incentive to have more possibilities to explore within those regulations. We will see, is it possible, but definitely it would be a good wish to have.
Well, I would say to the sandboxes, I think from the technical part, they have to be isolated from live data and going out there. I think this is one of the main issues of the sandbox. The second thing I think is really important is that it enables developer to try out new algorithms, new things, and just go wild without any repercussions for the outside world. And what I think is definitely also important to see is that we use this as education and training, not only for the data, but also for the people who are interacting with AI, in the sense that they can make mistakes there. Yeah. So if you do mistakes in the live world, well, problem, or better be good insured. And on the other hand, I would say that it really empowers people working with that.
Thanks, Daniel. Chloe?
What I would say that is important with these sandboxes is that they are not only national, they are supposed to enable European collaboration, and they are cross borders. And this is really important because we know that there are different countries in the EU, but with also different economical power and financial power and regulatory power. And for some countries, it might be easier to open sandboxes than for some others. So we really need to, with these sandboxes, achieve this European collaboration and make sure that everyone in each type of organization can have access to these sandboxes. And maybe Piotr can tell you about this.
From my perspective, it would be important to create sandboxes because it's not mandatory, I would say, to do it. And we have, as I understand, 2 years for the creation of sandboxes. Linas mentioned the experience of Lithuania, but I could share the, I would say, rather bad experience in Poland. We tried to create fintech, actually, sandboxes for a couple of years, even 2 times with the regulator, and we failed because of the huge backlash coming from the state-owned banks, but also the regulator, which didn't try actually to improve the innovation within the sector, because for me, the big banks were behaving some like big cows who were a little bit afraid of the faster rabbits who are moving on the landscape. So I think we need to push together to create the AI sandboxes, that's for sure. And the thing that we discuss also in Poland in terms of sandboxes is the joining forces cross-border, because there are many countries who will not create on their own sandboxes, or it will be too costly. So we have a discussion with whom we should link and who should co-sponsor the sandbox, which is also a tricky question. Is it going to be like innovation agency, maybe Lithuania, or should be a ministry, or maybe a regulator, or maybe a private sector? I think it all depends on the approach coming from the legislator and the policymakers.
You are a self-driven panel. Actually, I'm here for decoration. You can do this already. You started discussing the next round. So I want to summarize. So an AI sandbox is where a regulator and innovator can work together. They can play. This is why it's actually a sandbox, like the children on the sand. Learn from the mistakes in order to put the innovation into the market. So I will say that. And of course, the most interesting part, and I agree with you, it's how we can do this on the European level. What is the problem that we need to solve? What are the challenges for creating pan-European? You touched upon this. You highlighted the importance of cross-border sandboxes. I would like to understand, also all of us here today, what are the challenges? Why it's so hard to have a pan-European AI sandbox at the end? Regulation, market, what is the main?
Well, the problem for European sandboxes is Europe itself, somehow. So there are many cultural and differences in accessing data and how to prevent it, to prevent leakage. There are many different regulations on federal and even, for example, in Germany, in state levels. Yeah? So you have to imagine that they try to do a sandbox on a federal level, yeah, and then Bavaria said, no, we're not doing this because the federal sandbox is not compliant to what we want to do, and this whole insanity you sometimes have, and certainly also you have to also see which kind of stakeholders you have there. So, for example, in my experience, when you interact with a big research agency like Fraunhofer, for example, they have their own set of rules. Yeah? They have their own set of rules, and this is the 10 Commandments. Yeah, you can't break it. You will burn in hell. Yeah, if you go out of it. And then they have to interact with startups who have a complete different set of rules, or which they have a different perspective on that. And then you have the public sector there, which with their own set of rules. And I think, and then this take on the point of state, federal, and then European level. Yeah, and then and I think this is the challenge we are living in.
I would say one additional challenge that we will see in the really near future, it will be the scale of AI. You could imagine that now we expecting, hey, we will have the sandbox, we will invite 10, 100 companies to participate, and we will see one thing, that there will be much larger scale of the competences needed to validate and do the consultation. You could imagine the autonomous cars and the validation in the driving sector. Another rules and another competences are needed in the fintech, in the healthcare, and we will have the majority of the companies from various different kind of the spectrum of the application of AI, and the same high-risk application might require totally different interpretation. So what is valid, what is not. And I think that in really near future, we'll see that, hey, it's mandatory to have not only like generic sandboxes, but the thematic, and then, for example, the biometric. And now everyone is going through the airport and this automatic recognition system, and it helps do the automation. You could imagine that we reverse to the human checking in the airports. Well, it would be crazy. But nevertheless, all those different applications should be thematic, maybe in the thematic sandboxes, but how to have the generic view, how to create those, it's an open question.
I would like to touch on the subject that Daniel mentioned about the type of stakeholders is you have to gather. In acts for regulatory sandboxes, you have the national authorities that are involved in this, and the problem is that in most EU countries right now, we still don't know who are going to be the national authorities. So we have to start working on implementing sandboxes, but without the main character. And then once they are named and once they are created, they will need some time to be able to work, to get functional. But during this time where they will be created, we will have to go forward with the creation of sandboxes. So we have to start now, putting together stakeholders that are not present and make them work together. So in terms of timeline, it's really confusing right now. And there's also you have to make a government talk to each other, but you have to find the right contact. And in most countries right now, they don't have the department yet. So yeah, one challenge is finding the right contact, naming the national authorities, and make them work together. And they don't usually talk together. So we have to create communication ways and communication channels between this organization and these authorities.
I will just build on that, which means money. Like I started at the beginning, the key is to find a stakeholder with a budget. A lot of currently, a lot of EU programs, need like co-financing, like 50% co-financing, etc. And I hear, for example, from Polish institutions, Polish startups, that they would love to start and apply for grants or be active in, for example, in fintech sandboxes, but they're looking for co-financing from the government. And because of the, of the current situation, geopolitical situation, for example, that we have a war in Ukraine, the focus is on the defense. That's why I'm really happy that during our first event we had a discussion on dual use technologies, because I truly believe that there could be a link. We could build a link between dual use, like a civilian and military use, for example, AI drones and automated machines, etc. That could be maybe a key to open the pocket of the government, because also we have a discussion. When I talk about the money, the problem is also that a lot of countries are going through the deficit procedures, which the EU will open up. And there is a discussion what needs to be cut. And as you know, AI in many cases is not the first thing for people. They will focus on healthcare, they will focus on many other services, education, of which is important one. But AI actually is not the priority for many government, which means they will just spend a couple of millions and they will be looking for imaginary effect, I would say, which will not come because we know how much money need to invest. So I will start build on the problem of the regulator, notifying authority that currently Polish legislator is thinking about how to structure the AI Act implementation, who should be like the new regulator that I mentioned at the beginning of the day. That's the first problem, building bridges between countries. So I hope that AI Office will help bring all interested stakeholders to the table, because when I talk with the Polish officials, they said they would love to talk about, for example, building the same applicable law within the European Union, but they don't know with whom to talk. So we need the contact list, I would say, the money, and I think it was mentioned by the people in the audience, the CPUs or GPUs actually, which is the data centers. When I talk with the startups, I mean, AI is a huge word. I mean, even Linus mentioned that it's a thematic, so it could be a machine learning, it could be Gen AI, etc. But if you want to train a huge model, you need a lot of processing, and that's also an issue. So again, I come to the money.
I just want to make it more concrete in this case about the stakeholder management. And perhaps this is something to learn from the population size for smaller countries. In Germany, it's like that. AI as a topic is situated in the Ministry of Economic Affairs. Data infrastructure, on the other hand, is in the Ministry of Transportation and Digital Affairs. The jurisdiction about making the requirements on the sandboxes is in the Ministry of Justice. We have a three-party coalition in Germany, yeah, and the houses are in other colors, so they are represented by other. Well, you can't imagine what kind of, not only from the working side, but also from the political side. There are many different interests there, and how can I say, sometimes between the ministries it's not a real love affair. Yeah? So we have to realize that these are the challenges we will have in all over Europe. But what I can say perhaps to countries like Lithuania, Estonia, Latvia, but also Slovenia or smaller countries is streamline this process. Yeah? Streamline this process as the best as you can. Yeah? Have small hierarchies there, and I think then smaller countries have a bigger chance of succeeding and having the possibilities of establishing perhaps a Baltic sandbox than perhaps sometimes the big countries.
Okay. A lot of things on the table. Let's start. First of all, you already touched upon on the second topic that we want to start thinking now. Let me try to a bit summarize. And first of all, I would like to also give you a nice insight. Because yesterday I was looking, I did my research, and I found a very nice stat that in UK, in a fintech sandbox, they found this, that the startups that participate in the sandbox, they raise 6.56 times more funding. Something that we need to use and to inform our national states. So I hear you. Problem of jurisdictions. We need all the stakeholders. I would say fragmented market, also the problem of the fragmented regulation, it's another thing. I will also add perhaps the quality of the sandbox itself, it's a problem sometimes. We should not take this for granted. We do not have the experience, so now some countries are working on this. We agree? I will stop here, we can name more. But now I would like to put you a hard question. In Europe, as I tried to mention in my presentation, we're good in analyzing the problems. In the US, they're good in finding the solutions. So, what we should do now. Tomorrow, we start again designing pan-European sandbox. Putting the key stakeholders together is one thing. How we should convince them, how we should find the funding. Streamlining, Daniel already touched upon those things. So I would like you to start providing some solutions. Think about how we can solve this problem. What would be the next step? And in order to help, European Commission, it was mentioned before, launched a program. The total amount of money, I know and we know well because we submitted together with European AI Forum and my organization, it's 2 million. 2 million to set the guideline. Is it enough? Okay, fund. But how we're going to convince them to fund more? Do you like to start? Who? I put...
Well, how can we convince them? Besides, well, blackmail is not an option, but but we have to realize something, and that's something I touched upon before. Failure is not an option when it's concerning about Europe and AI. The repercussions that we would have if we are not establishing at least some kind of European AI ecosystem with sandboxes and everything around that. And what we have to make it clear, especially now, after the European election, there will be a new European Commission. And I can only emphasize to all of you from Lithuania, from any other country here, is that you get involved and talk to the ministries who are involved in the European Commission gathering, who are stakeholders in this place, who are your representatives on a European Parliament level. Because the way you just told 2 million for this. So I personally would like to have 2 million, but 2 million, let's be clear, is not that much of money in this case. When you see what kind of other subsidies, agriculture, stuff like that, the billions they're throwing in there. So what we have to realize is that digital policy has not the recognition in the political stakeholder game as classical economy, as healthcare, as other issues are, who are also in the media far more represented than digital affairs is. When we see the potential growth of the European Union and the potential growth of the United States, the divide is getting bigger and bigger. You talked about NVIDIA as the most valuable company. We have Microsoft, and these are all digital-first companies. Yeah, And we will not survive economically the next 20 to 30 years if there is not a changement in the attitude we are going towards digital things, digital companies, and where AI is one of the issues. And what we have to make them clear is, if you're not funding these projects in this case, then we have a problem. But let me just say one thing. Of course, I can trash on government, yeah, and I can do it, you know, hours, yeah. But what is also a problem in Europe, dear friends, is that the traditional European companies are sleeping on this issue as well. I can tell you, when we saw the first beta of GPT-3, like three and a half years ago, we went to the government, but we went also to big German companies, and they're saying, yeah, what is this? This is kind of a nerd thing, and we're saying this will have implications on your business cases, and they didn't want to believe it. And being conservative and not digital is not only a problem about from government and from the public sector. It is there too, yeah. But it's also a problem from the traditional companies, and it makes me mad. And I will stop ranting right now. Thank you.
Thank you, Daniel.
I mean, you ask for the solutions. So what we do as a Poland, we pitch the government the idea that actually tech is the solution. So if you have a problem with the aging society, and for example, out of society also don't want to see migrants, or it's a popular topic, especially of the far right, you need to go through automation. It's like, you know, in Poland, for example, we are promoting Society 5.0 concept, which means that there are no skilled worker anymore. So you need to go through automation if you want to have the same level, I mean, the same level quality of the services, of the products. And we are pitching to the government that you need to invest in some solutions. That's the first thing. The second is you need to change the legislation to support it. For example, just this week, which is a very unique case. I'm pretty curious how it will be solved when we're gonna have our sandboxes. But 2 days ago, there was a quarrel backlash in the media, because one journalist presented, I would say, healthcare service, which was not, I would say, healthcare service, but still it was a service where you put your healthcare data and you get a response from ChatGPT. And actually, the journalist received the information from the healthcare authority, supervisory, etc. And they were saying it should be stopped. I mean, it's illegal. It should be not possible that you are sending your healthcare data to a, let's say, ChatGPT, etc., etc. So we need to change the attitude. I think that was mentioned by Daniel, and we need to do it by bringing use cases. So I think we need to present the use cases. What is the value which is coming from AI solutions? Not only ChatGPT, but I'm talking about drones, for example, which could, you know, transport the blood, for example, right? It has a dual use case scenarios where you could use it also on the front. So we need to present AI as a tool to solve our problems, even the climate change problem, the transport mobility problem, the energy transition problem. In most cases, you could solve them, or at least try to solve them, with tech.
Yeah, I hear you. They're still not convinced, they don't understand, yeah.
I would love to contribute to this topic of finding money for the regulatory sandboxes. That was our original topic. And at first, when we talked about this panel discussion with Linus, I wanted to talk about how in France we are quite lucky because we have a whole investment plan and they are really listening to us. And we can go to the government, and that's what Daniel said, that it's really important to ask the government for money. But right now I don't know what to say anymore because I don't know what my government is going to look like in 2 weeks. And that's where the political also come into place, because depending on who is leading the policy for digital changes, because it's not a priority in all programs right now. And this is something that we have to make all political parties aware of, is that it should be a priority. Digital should be a priority. And for example, what we see in France, it's really not the priority. So getting money depends on who is leading the state also.
Thank you. Linus.
So education and literacy, because if we do not share the news about the good examples and the benefits it's bringing, well, we saw the statistics. The private sector, 90+% of the main innovators and research centers, a small percentage, and we do not share all of the success stories and all of the information which brings about the value about the AI and the digital information. So for that reason, we finally did not reach the message. So probably we should find additional ways to literate and educate everyone, including our politicians.
So, just to add to that one, yes, we have to educate them, but we have to also change, I think, from our digital bubble, our mindset in communicating with them. So, for example, we often, in the tech bubble, we love innovation for the innovation itself. But what we have to break it down is how this can really help people, companies and in the social branches and stuff like that. So let's take a very simple example. A good friend of mine is a nurse in Germany. When she does her 9-hour shift, she has to do 1 to 1.5 hours of stupid paperwork. She has to make lists and by pencil. Yeah, she's still making lists by pencil. There she has to go out. And then when it's modern, she has to do an Excel. And she does that in her 8 to 9 hour shift, 1 to 1.5 hours per shift. She didn't do this work because of doing lists and putting in data in Excel. Why can't we give her a kind of AI chatbot, yeah, to reduce the time where she has to do the paperwork, like said, from 1.5 hours to 20 minutes? This is a practical example which is, with technology from today, definitely doable, yeah, without many financial incentives there. But you have to prioritize. We have to show the people that that AI can help them, because the discussion, and this is, I think, what we had, yeah. I think in your presentation, I think it's like that AI can do the things Hollywood is telling to do. Yeah, I can't tell you how often when we were debating about the AI Act, yeah, I got from politicians and other stakeholders direct Hollywood references back. So in this case, yeah, but when AI comes, the robots will control us? Okay, Terminator 2. Yeah, will reality be reality? Matrix. Yeah, it is really like that, and we have to demystify AI. We have to demystify. It's a freaking tool. Yeah, we have to go down from this emotional discussion. On the one hand, it's Terminator, and on the other hand, it's a reincarnation of Jesus. It's not. Yeah, it's a freaking tool that should help people. And as long as we are not demystifying AI, we will have this kind of stupid Hollywood discussions that we have.
I agree. This is why I'm smiling. So I will try again to summarize. I will get one, private funding. So it's also, so that's part of the solutions. What was the result of what you discussed? Yeah. We need at some point to see also the private funding, the companies trying to invest in, understanding that setting up a sandbox for the government is also beneficial for them, and should not always expect the government to create the funds. I think we should go two ways. One thing, the governments also to be more agile. Piotr and Chloe, you touched upon this. Meaning that, first of all, they need to understand that they can use AI. And I will ask you this. We're not recording this, right? So I can say whatever. Okay. So it's a good question to commission is, are you using AI? Because they are one of the biggest clients. If you want to ask me later, I will tell you exactly what is happening. So they need also to create sandboxes internally. But they're not doing it. The same the governments, because maybe, and this is connected to the two, they don't understand what is the benefit, or perhaps the solutions that we develop are not so beneficial for them, which is so ready to. And education, which is cross-cutting those two, and I totally agree with you. So here you have the solution. These people, they gave already a new a new horizon for the AI sandboxes. Please give them a round of applause, please.
Thank you.
In European AI Forum. But I want to, can I use the time to say something, Daniel and Linas? May I? A surprise.
My show, his show.
May I, please? Because you mentioned the robots, and something that I missed in presentation. I want to give you something. So by now you should know that I'm Greek, by the way I'm talking. Okay, good. So I will give you something. I really love it. The movies and all of the part are connected to what I'm about to say. Aristotle was once responded to the question why the Athenian democracy, one of the best democracies that this earth have ever seen, had slaves, because there were two fundamental problems. The woman didn't have the right to vote, and there were slaves. So listen to his response. He said, look, the citizens need to have time in order to take good decisions. So we need to have some people that do the work. If in the future we have automated machines to do the work for us, we won't need slaves. So the question here is, now we have the machines, who is taking the decision from us? Or are we only heavily relying on AI to take all the responsibility for our decision making from now on? And this is a more general question. I missed it. You mentioned a lot the robots, so I want to leave it at this. Sorry for stealing a little bit of time of the great panel. Thanks a lot. Thanks a lot.
Thank you. You know, one wise man told me once, after the panel, sometimes you leave with answers, but sometimes you just leave with better questions, and that's even better. So, food for thought for you guys. Good luck. One of two things gonna happen next. Okay, scenario one. So online we're gonna have Cecile Huet from European Commission. Cecile, go ahead. You're on mute. We cannot hear you. I'm not sure if the problem is on your end or our end. Can you hear us?
Hello.
Show that you can hear us. Now we can hear you.
Yes, I do.
Awesome. Go ahead.
Good afternoon, everyone. So my name is Cécile, and I'm the head of the unit within the AI office. So we launched the AI office early this week, and we are part of it, an integral part of it. And our unit deals with excellence in AI and in robotics. And in this presentation, I'm going to present the European AI Innovation Package, and in particular, the different aspects, going a bit more into the detail on the different aspects we are involved in, and which are also, which will become part of the funding programs. So first, where do we come from? Why do we do that? Is, as you know, GenAI is the new wave of AI models that are trained with huge amount of data and then can adapt to many domain and tasks. And we have seen now more and more, we see it every day, that the potential is has been shown, and it's expected to really revolutionize many sectors. So we see new use cases, and what is expected from these is that it can drastically boost the productivity, the creativity, and efficiency across all industry and even our daily life as citizens, but also in public sector and also in scientific processes. So to boost scientific discoveries, for instance. And what is important is that GenAI has now shown that is capable of really disrupting the economy at large, and this is why it's so important also for Europe to ensure its sovereignty in the domain, and to make sure that we do have in Europe strong AI models built in Europe with our data, reproducing our value and our culture, and not just be a translation of models trained with data from the web, which are 90% or more maybe from non-EU culture. So that's why we launch a number of activities in the domain. And just 2 words about general purpose AI. They're trained with a huge amount of data, of many sorts of data. It can be text, image, speech, structured data, such as tables and so on, 3D signals of any type, can be video also. And you put such data in the models, and you train these models, and then it can be adapted to many different tasks. It can be, even though it has not been trained specifically to answer to question, but you can fine tune it so that it becomes a good machine to answer to your question. It can do some sentiment analysis, information extraction, captioning of images. So you show image and it can describe the content, or vice versa. You give a content and generate images, and it can do object recognition, follow some instructions. So the number of tasks are wide, and this is why it's called general purpose AI. You train it on huge amount of data, and it can be adapted to many different tasks. And what is Gen AI useful for, and why is it so different from the standard and the previous wave of AI? It's actually quite simple, and one of the key aspect is, in the past we had to label the data mainly, and so for instance, if you wanted an AI system to recognize dogs, you had to show many picture of dogs and then say put a label on this picture saying it's a dog. But with technologies such as Gen AI, you put in the system huge amount of data, and the way it functions is quite simple. The principle, at least. No, the reality is much more complex. But basically, you put a sentence and you remove part of the sentence, and you train the system to find back to guess what was the missing word. And if you show huge amount of such data, this is the way then the system is trained, and then you give a part of a sentence, and then the system is then able to generate the rest of the sentence. So this is basically the principle of Gen AI. And then the basic principle is this system, they do understand between quotes structure. So then they are very good in prediction, in anomaly detection, because they can generate potential future, and if the actual data you see is different, then you detect anomaly. They can be very good in adapting, in personalization, in every type of sector, in optimization and automatization. So yeah, you can have text generation that you are familiar with, generate content. You have the chatbot. It can generate image for marketing, design, art. It can do drug discovery, because instead of you can repeat the same principle of generating words, sentences, future sentences. You can do the same with molecules. So it can generate also a drug with certain characteristic. And anomaly detection can be used in, for instance, security networks. So these are few principles that show how the technology work and why it's different from previous one, and how powerful it is as well, because now this has unlocked the potential of really using huge amount of data, because you don't need to train them to label them as was needed in the past. So basically, what do we need to do if we want to have build our capacity, build model which are really made in Europe? And made in Europe means also respecting our value, and also in line with the AI Act and the regulation we put forward. So you need basically key ingredient, which is computing capacity, which is access to data, and also access to talent and the capacity to build algorithm. In addition to that, you of course need money. And this is what basically we have put in the innovation package that we sent in, that we presented in January. So the AI factories is basically built around our capacity or computation capacity, which is EuroHPC, a network of world-class machine, which is the EuroHPC under the EuroHPC joint undertaking. So these are huge machine and world-class, which are situated in several countries in Europe. And this can be then a publicly available computing capacity that can be distributed to the different developers of AI. So we will have one specific part of the funding for this AI factory. Why? Because it's in these AI factories that you can build then the foundation models on which is developed then generative AI solution. Then the second big pillar of the AI innovation package is the GenAI for EU. This GenAI for EU is then from the pre-trained model, you want to build application, and we want to support the uptake of this very powerful application in all our key sector in Europe. And the goal is to help them to keep their competitive edge, because other industry in the world, they don't wait for it, they jump on the opportunity. And even in Europe, we see these or big industry testing with GenAI, but systematically they're testing with non-European solution in a huge number of cases. So it is important that we ramp up our capacity and really develop technologies made in Europe rather than systematically using non-European solution, which is also critical because you want to stay in control of your data. Therefore, it's very important as well to make sure that you can trust the provider of the technology and work close to them. In addition to that, we have a number of tools for financial tools, or traditional funding instrument to support the development of research and innovation. So create AI algorithm, develop the skills, and we have also a number of activities to support the access to data with the data space under the Digital Euro program, for instance. But now we will also create under Digital Euro program InvestEU. There was a top up. And the goal is to then provide financial instrument to startup to help them to grow up and find the right financing instrument so that they can grow in Europe with EU fund rather than being swallowed by non-European company. In addition to that, we have the AI office, so brand new AI office that was kicked off on last Monday. It has mainly 5 different units to deal with the different aspects of AI. So our unit is dealing with excellence in AI and robotics. The A2 unit is dealing with regulation and its implementation. Unit A3 is dealing with the safety, especially checking these large and very powerful AI, general purpose AI models. We have the A4 unit dealing with the coordination of the policies and with the innovation aspect, more the deployment of AI technologies in the different sector. And finally, the last unit dealing with AI for good, and in particular to make the AI beneficial to all the different also countries, including from the south. Then we have created 2 other instruments. These are multi-country projects. It's very important to pool effort and join forces under these in this technology, because they need really scale and also they need to be fast. And for that, we created 2 what is called European Digital Infrastructure Consortium. So these are a consortium of different countries joining effort in a different aspect. We have one which is about language technologies, and the goal is to bring different data, different language data from the different countries, so that we could, with this data, create a model really with covering all the European languages. We have also the Cityverse EDIC, which is then their similar type of consortium to work in advancing the smart cities and communities digital twin and related services. And as I said, we have a number of actions dealing with facilitating the access to data with the data space, for fostering the progress in AI algorithm development, and also we need skills both to develop those models, to develop application, but also for the professional to be equipped with the right skills in order to use these technologies. In the AI factories, I will go just a bit more into the detail on the AI factories. So these are the place where to build the model, and then they must be connected to different aspects and with different services. First, they need to adapt the current machine for the needs of AI. Currently, the machines are optimized for simulation of huge systems such as Earth observation, but now they must be adapted to the need of the AI community to train models. And so this is a first step, adapt the machine to the need of AI. And then there will be a number of services to facilitate the AI developers to port their algorithm to this machine and train them. In addition to that, there will be a link to development of talent and competencies, both in AI and in HPC, and the intersection of both. They must, of course, be connected to data center and the data spaces I mentioned before. In order to train this model, you need to access to bring the data to the machine. And finally, they will also adapt their facility in order to facilitate the programming of these machine, and in particular to train the models. And then the factories, you build your model in the factory, you need to be connected to the AI ecosystem. The ecosystem includes different stakeholders, or different initiatives. We will link them to the testing experimentation facilities, which are it's a network of facility which are specific for several sectors, and they are there offered to AI innovators so that they can test their technology in real or close to real environments. So we have a number of them in Europe. They have been funded by the Digital Europe program, and we have them in manufacturing, in healthcare, in agri-food, and in smart city and community. Besides that, we have the AI on demand platform, which is a platform which is there to support the community so that they can offer a repository of different assets. So far they have close to 200,000 assets put there by the mostly research community and running project. So we want project to put their resource there so that they can be reused, shared, and compared with others. But later on, they will also evolve under the Digital Europe program project supporting the platform to become really a marketplace that will be offered to AI stakeholders, innovators, putting their products on the platform to be visible. And one part of the platform aims to validate the trustworthiness of these products, so that you could, if you use products from the platform, then you can trust that they trust them. Then we have the AI on demand AI Network of Excellence Center. These are a big project that gather the best experts we have in Europe to work together in facilitating or accelerating the research and development in the field of AI. And finally, last but not least, we have the public-private partnership in AI, data, and robotics. And this is our formal interlocutor with the community in order to define our funding priorities. So if you're not yet a member of this ADRA, AI, Data and Robotics Association that represent your community, then please become part of it. This is your possibility to be influential in the funding priorities, and it's also a very important tool to network with the different stakeholders. Regarding data access, I mentioned that we are funding the Common European Data Space in our main sectors in Europe, and this was just to illustrate what they cover currently. The Gen AI for You is the second big pillar of the innovation package. And here, what we want to do is to boost the uptake in strategic sector, in public sector, and in science. In January, we presented how Gen AI can really boost the development in different sectors. They can, especially in robotics, which is one field also handled by our unit, but it can really bring the capacity of robotics to the next level, making them much more smarter than they are today, and also achieve more tasks and interact more smoothly with people. Public sector can also benefit from Gen AI in providing better services to the citizen directly, or better decision making as well in the policy context. And in the communication, we also say that we are going to support the uptake of generative AI in the 14 strategic industrial ecosystem. They are listed there. So basically, they are the one where we need to support the competitiveness of this industry through the best tool we can offer to them. There are plenty of examples, and you can see them in the publication. This is just the illustration of these 14 strategic industrial ecosystem for Europe, and we will work with them to facilitate the uptake. Here is just a few examples to show how Gen AI can be used in different sectors. So in the medical sector, they can help in diagnosis from medical imaging. They can process huge amount of data that a single human will never have the chance to see in his entire life, and hopefully that could facilitate to detect some anomalies and then to help in the diagnosis. In drug discovery development, as I already explained, then generative AI can generate sequences of molecules with certain characteristics, and therefore hopefully it has demonstrated to really accelerate the processes of designing drug with requested characteristics. They can also be used in personalized medicine, where you can build on their larger models, which are trained with different kind of medical data, so that you combine the different history of the patient with medical records from imaging, from blood samples, from medical file, and then you can also combine this with the whole, let's say, encyclopedia of the medical knowledge. And eventually, the goal is that you could use this technology to have really personalized medicine at all levels of the healthcare system. And finally, in a more mundane task, then the large language model can help assist the medical professional to report on the different action and the different processes in the medical field. So this was just to give an example. We will promote the use of generative AI in cluster 1 of the Horizon Europe pillar 2. And we are going to do the same in other pillar. In cybersecurity, you can reproduce similar kind of reasoning as the one I just described. I will not go into the detail, but you can and actually there is a two-edged sword, because generative AI is a great tool to improve the capacity to detect cyber attacks, but they're also used by the attackers to create a cyber attack in a much more powerful way. So we need to make sure that in terms of cybersecurity, we advance faster than the one developing attacks. Here are the examples in the cluster 4 in the Horizon Europe program, where generative AI can be used to boost really the progress in more useful robots, which are then able to use generative AI to improve their planning capability. So as much as you can generate text, you can generate sequence of molecule, you could also generate sequence of actions. And this is where there is potential as well to be more efficient in prediction, the best sequences. Same for human-robot interaction. You can also improve learning from experience, and you can also use generative AI to simulate environment, to simulate data, so that you can also improve the robot learning phase. In manufacturing, you can do the same, so generate simulated environment, or you can also use generative AI to optimize processes, and also in different dimensions of optimization, including in waste reduction. So cluster for Horizon Europe will deal with that. We have similar activities in other clusters. In energy sector, we can show there has been some study showing that the market is going to be huge for the use of Gen AI in the coming years, and they can be used in some very interesting aspects such as energy optimization, virtual power plant development, predictive maintenance, and optimization, of course, of the smart grid supply and demand. And the supply grid can become very complex when you even think about using the batteries of the car as part of the overall energy grid system. Then we'll do the same as well in agro-food and so on. So this was just an overview of different activities that we will use in order to implement this Gen AI for You, which will represent 500 million euros in the coming year until the end of this current multi-annual framework program. Now, the way we work, as I already hinted at, we go from the lab to the market. First, we work in cooperation with this partnership AI, Data and Robotics. They define a strategic research, innovation and deployment agenda on AI, data and robotics. We take it as an input from which we derive our funding goals, funding priorities. And then we select research and innovation project in different, focusing on different research, technical aspect, but also tested in different application field as well to show the potential of future deployment in this area. Then we have the Networks of Excellence Center. I already mentioned the AI on-demand platform, which covers both the research and the Horizon on the right-hand side, and then more the industry needs on the left-hand side. We have the testing experimentation facilities, testing before you can really put them on the market. And finally, the last mile before delivery, it's the European Digital Innovation Hubs, and their goal is to support the digital transformation of their local ecosystem. They are mostly regional ecosystem, and therefore they will also cover the uptake of AI technologies in the different sectors, and their target customer is mostly SMEs and public sector. To that, we add the dimension of data, skills, and access to HPC, as I explained before. Now, to be more concrete, currently we cover the whole value chain from the research to the deployment, and here we have a call open in research to advance, to prepare for the next generation of models, including new type of modalities, such as the one you would see, for instance, in IoT data in the manufacturing environment, or Earth observation, or robot sensor data, to train models so that they can then be used for application later on. And then we have another call on explainable and robust AI. We know that this system, they can display extremely powerful capability, but they have also limitations. And in particular, they have problems of hallucination. So sometimes they give you an answer with being very confident, but these are completely wrong. So we need to research on addressing these issues. This is Horizon Europe. In Digital Europe program, we just closed the call, and we had two parts. One is the Alliance of Language Technologies. I mentioned the ALTIDIC before, and the goal there is to support this multi-country project to basically, here the focus is to make data available on all languages, but later on they will also support the uptake of the technology in making available pre-trained models so that the innovator can fine-tune and create application out of that. And then we have a call, which is the goal is to develop a multilingual model which will cover all the European languages, in order then again for the innovator later on, it will be open source to help our innovator to create application out of that. This will be made available for the innovator community later on. And finally, we have the EIC accelerator. So it's going towards closer to innovation again. These are for single SME, and the goal is to help them growing in providing them access to funding. So it's let's say a tool which combines grant and equity. So then there is 50 million euro there, and the next cutoff date is the 4th of September. So if you're interested, then go and see there. the focus is on those startups, SMEs that develop models and also develop tools to support the development of model. Then what we are going to do is also to address the different policy needs of the different clusters within the second pillar of Horizon. These are the one I listed there. And then on pillar 1, there will be also GenAI will be used in AI for science. And we also have the missions where GenAI can also be there to help the uptake in their different, to address their policy goal. Just here, a last comment is to explain the expansion of the field and see that among our AI startup, we see already, it was already more than 6 months old, the data, we had already 10% of the AI startup which were dealing with generative AI. And out of them, quite a number of them, 1/3 of them was actually developing models. So we have a community developing model. And here it's to show a bit how they're distributed in different countries, and also to demonstrate that they actually have a good coverage of the different application sector I mentioned before. So that's it from my side, and I thank you for your attention.
Sil, thank you very much. Thank you very much. Let's move forward. And I'd like to invite Jolita Česulytė. She's from the Research Council of Lithuania. She's also Europe Horizon NCP for climate, energy, and mobility.
Thank you. So Romanas already told who I am. I just want to clarify this abbreviation NCP. So I am a national contact point for Horizon Europe, not just in energy, climate and mobility, and for Euratom as well. So today we all heard a lot of speeches about the AI, yes, and how to use it. But in the end of the day, we all know that we have a person in the end. So, what I would like to say today, my presentation will be really short, but you can't be alone in the field. So you need partners. So today, my presentation will be most about how to find partners, why you need partners, and the tools, how you can reach them. So I guess everybody of you knows what is Horizon Europe, yes? Just raise your hand if you don't know. If you don't know. Okay. So everybody knows what is Horizon Europe, and I don't need to... thank you.
This might be helpful.
Yes, thanks. Now why we need partners. So first of all, collaboration between partners and consortiums help to solve problems. And that's why you need all of them to have them together. And it promotes international cooperation, of course. They can use each other's infrastructure. So if you are in a consortium, you can use them like infrastructure if you don't have one. Once more, it's exchange scientific and innovative ideas. And European Commission thought about how to, force collaborate between clusters and scientists and even between countries. So they made in Horizon Europe Pillar 2, where it's mandatory to have a consortium. So you need at least 3 partners in this collaboration. Now, search for first of all, you need to make homework, of course. So the homework is, first of all, you need to check what do you need in your organization. So you need to identify a topic, what you are looking for, and of course, what matches your ideas. After that, you need to check conditions and requirements. and look for partners and consortium. But this is not the end of your homework. So another big and really important homework, what you should do. So you need to create your profile. The profile of your organization or any laboratory, what do you would like to share with. So when you create your profile, after that you need to share with everyone, yes? So you just create an account in different platforms. In Horizon Europe, we have Funding and Tenders portal, where you can use it, and you can even check who is already registered in this platform, and that's how you can find partners as well. When you upload this information, you can check the list of the calls. In each call, you can find invitation for partner search, and here you can upload your organization as well. So participation in targeted events, it's crucial, of course, and we will talk about a little bit later. Now, this slide is really interesting for me, especially because this slide shows with whom we collaborate most. So the three most collaborative countries are Germany, of course, Italy, and France. We have really good relationship with Spain as well. So, but anyways, this is all countries which we are already collaborate. But if you want to be in the list of Horizon Europe, first of all, you need to know what kind of countries can be in your consortium. So this is in the end of this slide, you can see the list, and you can the link where you can check what kind of countries can be in your consortium. So in all the world, actually, you can collaborate. Okay, now partner search tools. This is not, of course, all of them, but the major and the most important. And I think everyone of you knows that your own network and your core partners network is most important in this. So if you don't have some partners, yes, you can use all others. So you can access Cordis in the second in the row. It's a European Union project winners. So you can find them, and you know that they are really capable to write a proposal and to be a really good partner for you. Then, of course, we have you can contact commercial attachés in different kind of countries, and that's how you can manage the process. So one more thing about the social networks. So everybody of you, I think you have a network like LinkedIn, yes, but not all countries have them. So you need to understand that if you want to find a partner, you need to choose not just one tool, yes? You need to have them, a lot of them, so to find a right partner. What I would like to highlight that in Horizon Europe, Lithuania is a part of widening countries. And here we have a facility named Hop-On. The QR code is right there. And you can check the consortiums which already have won Horizon Europe project, but don't have widening country in their in this consortium. So you can add your proposal for them, and with your own funding, became a consortium in this consortium. So I would like to share with you and just remind you that you can have this possibility. Okay, now we can jump into a Funding and Tenders portal. this is portal for partner search. So as I mentioned before, this funding and tenders portal is for all European Union calls. So if your organization profile is there, so you are there. So you are interested, and everybody else can check your ability and how you can manage to do a work. And of course, you can check there as well what they have there with partners. Another good channel is Enterprise Europe Network. I guess everybody knows as well. But in this partner opportunity already registered more than 5,000 participants, but you can't do it by yourself. You need to find the person for European Enterprise Europe. Each country have them. In Lithuania we have as well. So you need just to call them and arrange the meeting and put your organization profile in this network. One more really, I guess, interesting and specialized platforms. Horizon Europe, as you saw, have a lot of thematics. So each thematic have their own online specialized platforms, and here you can register it, and all day long and all year round you can be visible. So I think it's really good platform, especially for who already knows what they are looking for. Okay, and I think one of the best way to find the partners, of course, is brokerage events. So you need to just go there and find partner eye to eye. This is just for just finished, I think, this event, but I just want to show you that we have even funding for some brokerage events, like 1,000 euros for one person, and you can go in particular events, brokerage events, and you can get funded. But at this moment we don't have any because, you know, summertime. But you can always check in our new website, europa's.lt, where we have all information about events, about calls, about help, and everything else. So please use this website to check our opportunities. Now, what I would like to highlight, and I would like that you take home. So you need to have experienced partners. So look for experienced and motivated partners, because nobody wants the consortium, nobody wants the calls when the partners are not capable to work really hard. After that, you need to try and use multiple tools. This examples was just few of them. So you can just take more. Maybe you know more even tools. So I think you need to have more of them and use them all. And of course, get help and advice for that, as all of us work for you, work for our customers to do a job really good for them. And I think this is my last slide, but what I would like to share with you as well, that we are a national contact points in Lithuania, and we are 19 of us working for Horizon Europe program, and we cover all Horizon Europe program. So before me, there was shown that there are a lot of possibilities to get involved in Horizon Europe. So if you are interested, I'm here, and our whole team are here for you for help. And I think this is my last slide. But what I would like to one more, can I? Yes, I can say that we have. Artificial intelligence trainings are coming on the next autumn. So just check our website, and there will be all information about that. So I will encourage you to come to us to chat. Just take a brief and go on. Thank you very much.
Thank you, Jolita. Maybe we have a minute or two, maybe a quick question. Does anybody have a quick question? Raise your hand if you do. If not, it's all right. We're going to move forward. Thank you, Jolita, once again. I'd like to invite Evaldas Bružė, Deputy Director, Lithuanian Cybercrime Center of Excellence for Training, Research, and Education.
Hi. Hello. Okay. So that will be very organic continuation of presentation beforehand, and I will try to share my experience or my team experience in going in towards Horizon program and other programs and all the winning projects what we brought to Lithuania. Yeah, so with, is it working? Working. Not working. Okay. More than a decade, I am working with European projects. I have been participating and writing more than 50 proposals. More than 10 have been granted, and for a few others we are invited. So a little bit of a story behind and a little bit of experience. And one part what was introduced is formal requirements. How should we be eligible? And the other part is what is the reality and what is inside European Commission, all the granting schemas and all the projects and all the kitchen, what is happening. So few things to mention. There is an increased competition inside overall this era. And let's say if to come back 10 years ago for some specific technology niche programs, it was that we had up to 10 concurrent proposals for the grant. Now the numbers are coming to 50, 60. And it's really necessary to make a little bit of a homework to understand for what kind of a grant we are applying and do we have really the chance or not? Because the grants we are organized sometimes as a single grant or single financing, which means that only one project will be financed. And then there is a huge question, are we in the winning one? Yes, there are criteria like for Lithuania being small country, for our companies being classified in most of the cases as small medium enterprises coming from industry, or that we are geographically very nicely positioned. But if we are not in the consortia, those are also having big players, like beforehand it was #1 UK, and then going to Germany, France, Spain, Netherlands, Belgium, Italy, Greece, apparently. Now, depending on the topic, it's one to another side, but if either German or France is not in the consortium and we have a single winning proposal, there are, I would say, practically almost no chance to win a grant. Very rarely it will be the case. Another part is that before then we had FP6, FP7 programs, and we have been talking about research and development. It was poorly research and development. Over the last decade, the way how the assessment evaluation of the project ideas are done, even if it is on R&D side, it have changed the perspective into applicability. And even for low TRL projects, we need to include already in the descriptions that it will be applicable, and to prove it, to have the industrial partnership included in the consortium design already from these kinds of projects. Not talking about innovation when we have already something working, experimental technology, and we need to mature it, etc., etc. Yeah, and also from the industry players and for recent participation in different consortiums, I would say that there is also a shift in industries, that majority of industries are now driven by innovation. And 10 years ago, if we are coming to the industry and we are talking and we are saying that there are grant schemes, there are projects on Europe, etc., they do not have a clue what it is. Now, there are plenty of the companies who understand it. They have some departments or some sections working with Horizon and other similar type of funding instruments, and we need to find the right ones. The same is for the end users. It's not the case in majority of institutions in Lithuania, not talking about overall landscape of Lithuania, but the majority, I would say, that we still do not have innovation units inside the governmental institutions and some official organizations. But if to look for other countries, typically we'll find that this is the setup. And let's say, if there is a partnership with either with Germany or with Netherlands for sure, with Belgium, with Spain, in majority of organizations and institutions, there are departments who are specifically working with the grants. And if to search for the contact, then the best would be to go and to search for such a kind of a person. And if it is not a direct contact, then to ask, do you have a colleague who would be working with the grants, because it minimizes the way towards the final agreement and all the other work organization, which would be budget negotiations, split of liabilities, etc., etc. With the ones who are really, really operational people, maybe acting as experts in the fields, it's good to have them as an end user and to talk regarding either use case or applicability. But first of all, we need to write the winning proposal, and that is not always working. Yeah. At the same time, if looking on technology readiness levels and looking into, let's say, perspective, how it changed over the years, now I would say that we need to be more ambitious. This is what we are receiving as assessment reports from European Commission evaluators. And if we have technology which is technology readiness level 6, 7, and we are saying that we will improve or maturate the technology in 1 or 2 levels, that is okay for eligibility criteria, but it will most probably be signed by evaluators that not so ambitious in European perspective. So we need to make a more like a thinking of making quantum loop or jump to completely new level on readiness, rather than small and secure and not risk-taking approach for maturation. Networks. 10 years ago, professionally, it was a decade of establishing the networks. So we have been creating the networks for everything. Networks of experts on, I don't know, ICT technology, networks of experts for smart energy, network of experts, but now we have a result that these networks have been financed for establishment. They exist. Some of them are operational, some and there are 2 things. One is it's really value-adding component when we are looking from the design perspective of winning application. the more of networking part we can include, the better exposure will be, the better European impact criteria will be for application evaluation. One part. Another part is if to look on the long term, going into the network and into the contact with them, it means that even for this application can be unsuccessful, it can be the start of a journey for continuing and, let's say, winning the next two ones. For the mindset and for, let's say, creating the perspective on participating in Europe programs, I would say majority of winning proposals, they are second submission. This is the reality. So if we want today to write the winning proposal and we are starting from scratch, yes, there is a probability that it will be the winning one and you will be granted. But if to talk with a majority of big organizations who are long-term into Horizon, they are resubmitting already evaluated proposal. Then once received the comments from European Commission evaluation team, where it was not matching the idea, where it was having some weak points, and then adapting and improving. On eligibility criteria, the minimum ones, it's, let's say, the question is how to read them. There was a good example on international collaboration that it is embedded in European programs, and typically we have minimum eligibility criteria, 3 member states participating in the consortia. The ones we are winning, typically they have more than 10. So, yeah. This is to understand where will be your other competitors who will be writing in concurrent to you similar proposals on the same program. If to look on geographical reach or European perspective, there are also to understand that you look into the map. And if we have 3 member states and they are coming from all from Baltic countries, which is small geographical area, to say that this is European international collaboration perspective is hardly believable. If you have someone from Scandinavia, someone from Middle Europe, someone from Mediterranean area, and we as Lithuanians participating, then that can be treated as an international collaboration. So 3 member states here locally or regionally and 3 member states cross overall geography is slightly different perspective. Yeah. At the same time, if we are ambitious on something, and that is coming from type of activity, let's say, we are stating that we will be creating, I don't know, Association of Europe of something, or developing the standard, for example, for artificial intelligence application in the area of medicine. The question is, how much of Europe we can cover with the consortium? If it will be only a couple of countries, how much of the universal standard it will be? So this is also the perspectives we need to bring in additionally, apart from eligibility criteria, that to convince the evaluation team that this is really the way forward to fulfill the promise what we are bringing on the table. Yeah, and also this is our experience when we started the journey, and I see it in other colleagues. Then we are coming into the granting schemas and writing the proposals and participating in the projects. One part to manage own ambition, another part is to manage own appetite. If you are the company of 20-30 employees, meaning running business as usual and doing something extra with research or Horizon or whatever project coming from European Commission, and you are putting up that you will be delivering the scope which is more or less full your size of a company, then no one will believe that you have such a capability. So there is a capability or level of, let's say, risk for you to fulfill the promise, how much we can cover it. And let's say, better to start small but for sure, and then to grow up over the years with a presence, with the success projects and with a story, rather than to go in full in and then put up a lot of question marks on evaluation team. Will you be capable really to deliver what you are putting up the promise? Also on that part is to understand where are our sizes coming from small markets and where are the sizes coming from big markets. More I'm working in security and defense areas. We had such a story than talking with Lithuanian company, which is well established here, working for cybersecurity domain, and talking with the partners coming from the France, and trying to understand who is capable to do what. And then receiving the story that we, as a Lithuanian IT cybersecurity company, can do an A and B and C and D and everything. And then politely receiving the answer from the company that that looks very nice, from the France, that looks very nice, but maybe you should reassess your capabilities. And the company is 4 billion revenue company on the France market, who do not treat themselves as a capable doing everything. And we, coming from small country, having different understanding about our capabilities. So this is also to imagine how we look in the perspective of overall European Union market and what we are capable to deliver. Yeah, for the partner search, the question is two ways, I would say. One was introduced how we can search for the partners and to go into the first contact. Yeah. Second part is how to continue that. So we would be picked up as a good partner coming from here or whatever we are. And what does it mean, good partner? Good partner, it's not only some capability we have on technical side or on methodological side or on research side. It's also we should bring in national perspective, so we should have a local contact with policymakers, with industry, or with whatever will be end user definition. We should be also well established in scientific and research community. So if we are SME on some specific lab or some technology provider, the establishment or connection with university overall ecosystem is also something what is expected. And applicability area, meaning connection with the end users, is another component into the triangle. So for us to be, how to say, not only a good partner, but sexy partner, to be attractive for others to cooperate with. We need to, first of all, do homework and establish the links here locally in our market, and then coming into the discussion to say that we are bringing in overall ecosystem of our Lithuania or other market into the project, and we can do A, B, C, D, E, F, G through our links and deliver the value to the project. This is one. Second is very human-driven understanding of good partner is, are we trusted? And specifically when we are working remotely and we are talking about international collaboration, how do we build up the understanding of a trust or image or profile of some counterparty we are talking and interacting with. And small, tiny things. Picking up the phones, reacting to emails immediately, delivering the promises what we have made, keeping up the deadlines on daily basis. And if this small part will be completed, then it is enough to build up the trust on the other side and to be treated as a trusted party on daily basis, simply. And believe me or not, from many interactions and proposal writings, the ones who have been the most keeping promising, they have been the ones to get the highest position in the projects, to receive task management or leadership, working package leadership positions, and then we are coming to the negotiation on the budget. These were the ones where negotiations have been obsolete. And for the ones who are tricky and either not responding or not delivering, then there is always some rumors around, some cutoffs happening. Yeah. For networking, a lot of have been said. One part in addition to say, to search for the partnership ideas and collaboration for new projects, better to go on thematical events. So if I am in AI, for me should be not AI conferences to look for the partnership, but for application areas to look for the partnership, where the end users coming or policymakers are coming. So if it is AI application in energy, then I should be going into the energy conferences, events, info days. There will be always AI topic on the list, that's for sure. And then to be a solution for the people who are coming with the problems. That is much more fulfilling. Yeah, and then for the timing, and we have a timing here, to understand the perspective of writing up the proposal, coming up to submission. The winning ones, they start 1 year before. So let's say for us, majority of European Horizon and other grants are end of this year, November 20th, and similar deadlines. We have started building up the ideas and core part of the consortiums last year. So this is the way you should be also thinking and picking up the grants and the priorities where to participate, because majority of the people who are working constantly on research and innovation projects, they more or less are used for such a organization of a process that at very end of the year there are negotiations, contacting, networking, idea exchange for what we should be working on next year, and then little by little building up the success of the let's say 10 to 15, 16 months period to come up with a really quality, validated, fitting, with a nice consortium design proposal. Yeah, that's it on my side, on the points I had. And
thank you, Evaldas. Round of applause. Less people are left, but the best ones. Awesome. Actually, I really wanted to tell this joke to you guys for the whole time. Are you ready? It's a definition of AI. It's one of the definitions of AI. So when something doesn't work, it's called AI. And when it finally will start working, it will just be called software. Just an idea for you. Use it if you like it. And okay, last but not least, Chloe Pladel, are you in the room? Yes, please. So the mic is yours.
For the 5th time today, hello everyone. Well, congratulations, because you are the last one standing. So, yeah, you can applaud yourself, because it was a very long day. I will be very short and won't take too much of your time, because a lot have been said already by the various presentations. And I was asked to give you a bit of feedback on EU projects, because within the last 4 years now, we have been involved in 4 projects at Hub France AI. And so I put together little tips and tricks on how to manage this project. So just to showcase the projects that we've been in. So as I told you today, so we are a non-profit organization, and we have around 200 members right now. And we are focused on 5 main topics that are trusted AI, adoption and use cases in AI, impacts, ecosystem, and technologies. I won't be too long on this topic and move to the European project part. So since 2017, I live in the future, apparently. I meant 2017, of course. We have participated in 4 EU projects. Sorry, that's kind of ridiculous. We have participated in a project that was called AI for EU, that lasted for 36 months, and with a huge consortium of 84 partners. Then PREPI, 9 months, 22 partners. CBIA, which is a European Digital Innovation Hub, 36 months for 12 partners, and we are currently working in Deploy AI. I think Katarina told you about it earlier today, which is 48 months and 26 partners in the consortium. And building on these 4 projects, here's some tips that I identified when it comes to answering calls for proposals for the European Europe and Digital Europe program. So the first one is know your strengths. Before going in and wanted to do EU projects, you have to know what you want to do. What are you good at? What is your expertise? Do not dive in just for the money. You have to get something from this project, and you also have to be useful if you want to be selected for the projects. So you have to showcase your expertise. Then what you have to do is plan your available human effort. As it was said in the presentation before, this is that you will have to carry the work, so you will have to have available staff to carry out the work, because otherwise either you are going to be evicted for the consortium, or you are not going to be selected again, because you will be seen as a defaulting partner. So it's really important to know that you will have to carry the work and plan the workforce. Then you have finding the right project and finding consortia, but I will not elaborate on this, because the last 2 presentations already told you a lot about how to find partners. Here's an example of the EU project that we did. So the 3 on the left are projects that are related. So AI for EU, the idea was creating a one-stop-shop platform for AI in Europe. It was a bit chaotic, so it needed follow-up projects, and we had a PREPI in 2023 that collected the requirements for the platform from a technical and stakeholders' point of view, so user requirements, basically. And now we are in the deployment phase of this platform, and it's going to last 4 years. And on the side, we have the cybersecurity and AI-focused European Digital Innovation Hub. And what we did and why we got involved into this project is that we identified that our strengths for all of these projects is our connection to the EU and the AI ecosystem in France. We know SMEs because we talk with them a lot. We have 200 SMEs that are members of our association, and we know how to analyze their needs. And this is why we have been selected in these 4 different EU calls. And then I want to talk to you about the challenges that you can have within these EU projects and some leads and some solutions that I think are useful to know when you want to dive in and start this project. So there are two types of challenges, I think. The challenges that you have in all projects and the ones that are specific to EU or international projects. So of course, challenging one is delivering on time, defining the right governance for the project, finding the right methodology and reaching KPIs. And the specific challenges for EU projects is that there are a lot of partners. So as I was showcasing to you before, it's at least 20 partners, at least in our project, and up to 84. So try to work with 84 partners. It's really difficult. This is also international consortium, so you will have to work remote most of the time, but with a lot of partners. So that's when it gets really, really difficult. You also have the cultural differences. Sometimes we don't work on the same timetable. Like some countries start at 8, some start around 9, 10. Like try to have a meeting with a French person before 9:30. Impossible. We don't work at this time. But a German people will ask you for a meeting at 8. Happens. So now you have to work with the cultural differences. And then the last challenge is a defaulting partner. A partner that didn't plan his work effort beforehand, or someone that was supposed to manage the project on their side that left the organization. It happens really often. So challenges. Now let's try and identify some solutions. For example, for the lot of partners in remote working, well, the main solution is using the right tools. When it comes to EU projects, of course, SharePoint is used a lot, Confluence, Jira. And you have to find the right balance between having the right tools, but not too many tools, because then it's confusing everyone, and no one wants to have like 5 different accounts just to work on one project. When it comes to delivery KPIs and partner failures, what you have to do is always keep track of everything. So if you are a work package leader or a task leader, always keep in mind what each partner is supposed to do, is supposed to provide, and remind them about this. When it comes to governance, define a strong governance with the right instances. Most of the time in big projects, you won't have only an executive board. You will probably have work package leader meetings to make sure that everything is going smoothly. And then you have to find the right methodology. And to do so, you will have to build on previous experience, but also build on the strengths of EU projects. That is, you have a lot of different organizations. And a lot of different organizations mean a lot of different profiles and a lot of different persons with expertise. So you have to listen to everyone because everyone can have good ideas. And finally, I wanted to share 4 lessons that we learned at Up France since we started doing EU projects. First, you should never forget that these projects are collaborative. So we have seen sometimes in EU projects coordinators that doesn't want to discuss or hear the opinions of the other partners. Well, it doesn't go well, and most of the time you have the EU Commission that is stepping in directly to tell to the coordinator, you are supposed to be a team. So always work together and always remember yourself that you have to collaborate. You always have to think ahead, because as the previous person was saying, they plan 1 year in advance when they answer a call, but it also works when you have won the call and you enter the grant preparation phase and consortium agreement phase. And during this phase, you're not supposed to start working on the project because you are still doing the contracting. But on your side, you can start planning the next 6 months and identify what you will have to do, what resources you will need, and the main actions that will have to be done. And by thinking ahead in this, it's a gap of 3 months, you will take a real advantage, because when it will start, you will be able to start working, while the others will still be figuring what they are supposed to do. Then I would say define your vision when you think it's necessary. Big consortiums mean a lot of people around the table when there are meetings. And sometimes it's easier to say, I will ask a question later by email. Or if I see them, I will ask a question. Now, if you have a doubt, you always, and it connects to my last point, if you have a doubt, you should always ask the question. Because this is a big machinery, this EU project, and if you want things to run smoothly, you have to ask a question when you have a doubt. And what's important to keep in mind is that it's not only you and your project partners, it's also you and the project officer in the EU side. And if you have a question, you can always reach out to the project officer in the EU Commission, because they will help and they will guide you in what are the expectations of the EU Commission when it comes to this project. And finally, what I was saying, in define your vision when you think it's necessary, sometimes you have to accept that you are wrong, is that you have to listen to your instincts and, of course, ask when you are in doubt, but you also have to listen to other opinions and sometimes compromise. And I think that's it. Yeah. And you are free for today.
Thank you very much. Are we offline? Can we go offline? Bye, everybody who looked at us from the computer screens. Yeah, this concludes today's